Hello everybody, I am the Quiet Storm, or as I'm going to be known in this wonderful little series, John F. Kimball. Today, what I'm going to be starting is the series on this channel where I read the most interesting things that I have ever written. And interesting by no means good. I am going to be reading all the old stories and whatnot that I wrote. This goes all the way back, as you can see, to 2007. And there are 78 items to go through here. And they go all the way from, like, 4 words. Some of these are just funny. Like, the placement, the way I did something was just funny about it. I'm doing this meaning for it to be entertaining, and because I want to share just how screwed up I was as a child. But some of these things go up to being, several thousand words, at which point they will not be read in their entirety, but, nitpicked for the funniest little parts. And if you guys enjoy this, be sure to leave a little like or something, because, I'd like to know if I'm doing something right. And this is the first video, so I don't know exactly if this setup is going to be perfect, but, we'll see. Alright, first thing that we're going to read is a story that I wrote that won first place in a library writing contest when I was in 3rd grade that I called A Terrible Twist. Do I even need my glasses? Ugh, it glares ugly. I don't even need them at this short of a distance. Why now, of all times, does the washing machine have to be on spin? I hate life and life hates me. The washing machine is on spin, and I don't really want to turn it off because I'm going to forget to turn it back on. So this is just going to be vibrating for a little while. It's going to be so small you won't even notice, hopefully. Alright, so let's get started with my writing expertise. And as you can see, this is a whole 697 words long, set up in chapter format. Chapter 1, Tornado Watch. Jim looked at the TV. Tornado watch for Milton Town, said Jim, worried like. Wonderful syntax, 9-year-old me. Little Maxine came running into the living room. Maxine said, "Daddy, is we going to die?" Jim said, "No, Maxine, we won't die, I hope." Jane came into the living room. Jim said, "Jane, I think we should get out of here. A tornado might start any minute." "Honey, we better leave now. A tornado is coming." Who said that? I've not read this all the way through in like 5 years. Who said that sentence? That's bothering me. Chapter 2. Get out of here. Let me kill this white space because it's screwing me over. Go away. Chapter 2. Get out of here. "Get the keys. Go to the car," Jim yelled. They all got out of there safely. Jim said our next mark should be the storm shelter. "What about the house?" said Maxine. "Forget the house," yelled Jim. When they got to the shelter, Jim said, "We're finally here. Let's get in now. The tornado is here." They got inside safely, just to satisfy curiosities such as my own. That's a 60-word chapter. Next, Chapter 3. Oh no. "It's finally safe to go home," said Jim. They had to stop and get gas before they could go home. They went to Wilma's restaurant and gas station. They started filling up, but then, a tornado! "Let's get out of here," yelled Jim. "Maxine!" yelled Jane. Jim got in the car, but found out he was going up into the air. Maxine, too, was rising into the air. Thank you, Mom, for that wonderful save. I don't remember what it originally was, but it didn't sound like that. Chapter 4, Home, Ruined. I don't know why it's all shifty there. Finally, Maxine and Jim came falling from the sky. Jim had a broken arm and a broken leg. Maxine only had a fractured rib and a whack on the head. Only. Jim said, "Let's tip the car right side up, then let's go home if we can." When they got home, sad to find out the house was ruined. "We can't live in the car," said Jim. "And we sure can't live in the ruined house," said Maxine. Chapter 5, Oh No Again. Jim said, "Come on, let's get out of the car. Let's get out of the car. Take down the attic from the old house and live in it." What? After they got out, a tornado started again. Jim said, "Get back in the car, now!" Unluckily, they didn't quite make it to the storm shelter this time. They were sucked up into the air. They were scared. Maxine said, "Daddy, is we going to die?" Jim said, "Maybe, Maxine, just maybe." Then, whack! The car hit the ground really hard. It flattened the tires and made the car flip badly. No one was hurt, luckily. Chapter 6, Finally Better. When they got out of the car, they went back home and fixed up the attic so they could live in it. It still looked like trash. Gee, I wonder why. In a few hours, they got the new house-ish looking thing looking goodish like. Do you even English, bro? The only bad part was they couldn't cook. "Is we going to die?" said Maxine. Jim said, "For the love of God, Maxine, shut up!" Owen, for your question? No. Chapter 7, Really Oh No. They felt the house shake. Jim walked out and looked up, and a tornado. "Get out of the house, now!" Jim exclaimed. Maxine said, "We don't got no car. How's we going to get out of here?" They could only run now, but they didn't quite make it to the storm shelter. They were sucked into the air again. A few minutes later, the tornado stopped and they plunged down. Plunged. Luckily, they landed in a tire dump. Handy-dandy tire dump, just sitting there on the edge of town. Chapter 8, All's Well Ends Well, Lord does it. They walked home, but where was the house? Then it started to rain, not like usual. It was raining $100 bills. What? Only where they were standing, it was raining boxes of money. Jim said, "Let's buy a new house." The next week, they bought a new house. It was perfect. They loved it very much. They all sat down to watch the weather report on the news. They said, "The tornadoes are over." And apparently that's still open for the rest of history, because I didn't put an end quote. Jim said, "Now we don't have to worry anymore." And they lived happily ever after. Or did they? A terrible twist. The end. Yay, happy. So yeah, a little bit of explanations and context and whatnot for this. I had been watching the movie Twister, I guess, because I got it somehow, and I was obsessing over it, and I just wrote a story to that degree with the logic of a 9-year-old child. I just happened to land in a tire dump and have minimal injuries. This was actually, when I first wrote this, I hand wrote it and illustrated it at the same time, and I had some horrible, horrible little illustrations, but that's something funny that I really want to show one of these days. Oh, the washing machine stopped. Thank you, Lord. Praise be to Jesus. Alright, but yeah, I'm gonna show the original one of these days, but I think it's still packed up in one of the many boxes of crap I've got sitting next to me from when I thought I was moving. Okay, let's move on to the next story on our list. I'm gonna try and take out 3 today because they're relatively short, and then the next episode might just be to itself. I'm not sure yet. So, open this one called Jess 10/4/2008. Oh God. Jessica Ginal and the Dog Show. As you're going to see as I continue this series, I had a knack for coming up with some weird names for these poor people. Alrighty then. Written and illustrated by John F. Kimball, and it never made it off the computer. Oh God, it's going away. One day, Jessica Ginal was waiting for her Uncle Peter to come and take her somewhere. He didn't say where. All he said was, "It'll be a surprise, Jessica. I'm sure you'll have loads of fun." Okay, as soon as Uncle Peter arrived, all little Jessica would say, or in this case ask, as if that was important, was, "Uncle Peter, where are we going? Uncle Peter, where are we going? Uncle Peter, where are we going?" After little Jessica's third question, which was the same as all of the rest of them, Uncle Peter replied, "You'll know when we get there." That sounds really creepy as an 18-year-old to read over this. The world has ruined me. When the two finally arrived at the building where they were going, Uncle Peter exclaimed, "Welcome to the dog show!" "Yay!" exclaimed happy little Jessica. "We're going to see the dog show!" That's what he just said, little girl. Inside, Jessica saw all kinds of different breeds of dogs. After the show was over, Uncle Peter stated, "I knew you would enjoy it, Jessica." Jessica replied, "I sure did, Uncle Peter, I sure did." Jessica sat in the back seat of that old pickup that her uncle drives in hope that Uncle Peter would take her there next year also. The end. I love how I'm so specific with these things. That old pickup that her uncle drives, like we all know Jessica Janal's uncle. He just lives in the middle of town in some kind of an old silo or something. Ugh, weird. Alright. The next thing, that may not have been that interesting, I just included it because it actually made sense, kind of, sort of, ish. Okay, this may be interesting. The Amazing Race. A whole 357 words. Written and illustrated by John Kimball. I think I also, actually tried to illustrate this at some point. Like, I actually wrote it on paper, but I don't remember where I put it. Alright, this one's kind of fun, kind of interesting, I think. There's a flea walking on my hand. Go away, stupid cats. There once were 10 people participating in a dangerous, illegal race going all over America. There was Cindy Wagner racing with her 1988 Ford Mustang, Shannon Halling racing with her 2005 Dodge Magnum, Max Jennings racing with his 1988 Ford Ranger, Joe Hallhong racing with his 1988 Toyota Celica, Jamie Shaxton was driving her 1975 Ford F-100, Joe Keller racing in his 1996 Chevrolet Silverado, Tom Easton racing in his 2003 Dodge Ram 3500, Kelly Canston racing in her 1987 Dodge Ram Charger, and Hal Rennington racing his 2000 Ford Excursion. I had some kind of a thing for 1988 in there, apparently. Now that I have named them all, these horrible, horrible names, we can start the race. 3, 2, 1, go! They started off at Dallas, Texas, and they were headed toward a checkpoint in Hole-in-the-Wall, Atoka, Oklahoma. I will now tell you the first 3 to take off. Third was Hal Rennington in his Ford Excursion. Second place, Jamie Shaxton in her Ford F-100. And for first place, Tom Easton in his Dodge Ram 3500. Because if I know anything, if you drive a Dodge Ram 3500, you automatically drive like Satan is chasing you with fire. These are the first 3 cars to cross the starting line, because somehow that was important. Halfway to Oklahoma, Jamie heard something that sounded like a gunshot, then their truck started swerving. Thought she was alone. Maybe she picked up a serial killer. She pulled the truck off the road, got out, and as unsurprising as it was, one of her F-100's back tires had been shot out. Jamie had to walk to a used car lot and got one of the owner's spare pickup tires. After 2 long hours of walking, Jamie returned to her truck. Jamie got a wrench and jack out of the toolbox, then she changed the tire. After another 20 minutes of work, Jamie started racing again. While she was accelerating, she saw her opponent, Kelly Canston, pass her by. Jamie wasn't the only ones having problems. Shannon Holling's Dodge Magnum had run out of gas. She had to get her spare gas can. I hate the way I made these vowels in people's names. Shannon put out a spare gas into the tank of the Magnum, then turned around and went back to the nearest gas station to fill up the tank. The first one to arrive in Atoka was Hal Rennington and his large Ford Excursion, because I was obsessed with those for some reason. And in 2008, that's as far as I ever got on that sad, sad little story. So with that, everyone, I'm going to leave this episode right here. It's already run on way too long. Next time, as you can see highlighted, we're going to be reading a story that I titled Mean. And I know what this is, but you don't. So I'm going to let that suspense build up a little bit. If you like this series that I'm doing, let me know by leaving a like or a comment or something like that. And if you want to see more of my stuff, check out everything else that's on my channel. You might find something interesting, I don't know. As always, everyone, I am the Quiet Storm. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon.